Hi friends, sorry, how are you? I hope you guys are well. And like I say, I hope you guys are treating yourself well. Yeah, today I wanted to talk about this subject of the judgment around divorce. Mostly in India, it is a very very in a way taboo subject, or people get very judgmental. So you might be thinking like, why am I mostly making videos on social issues? The first thing is sorry, these issues are so linked to our mental health in a way. The judgments that we face, that they make us depressed, and some judgments are so harsh. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting a cough. Yeah, excuse me. So harsh that you know um, it's important to talk about that because they do affect the mental health of the people involved so much, as to such an extent that they prefer to stay in abusive conditions rather than face judgment. When I was going through a divorce, one of my neighbors, one of the ladies, she told my mother. And for one thing is, like, in India, it's mostly, I don't know how it is in other countries. Mostly, they assume that it must be the girl's fault. Men go through judgment too, in a lot of cases also, but even men will agree with me in this, that women go through so much judgment. If a divorce happens, it's like always it must be the woman's fault. That's how the society um, perceives a divorcee. If you I don't even like to call myself a divorcee. I don't even like to refer to that chapter of my life. But now that I decided to raise awareness about these things, I have to revisit those chapters, and that's it. So yeah, so one of the women in my neighborhood only, like all my neighbors are really nice people, but in every neighborhood, you will find some or the one, at least one person who is kind of very nosy and was always trying to create problem, just by being that I don't know, just by enticing people, in a way, just by getting into everybody's business. So she told my mother that when my mother told her, but she kept asking, why is your daughter here, why hasn't she gone to her marital home yet when I was here during the divorce process. So, well, I came long before the divorce process here, but and I was like, what is her problem? What is, I mean, and I will explain why I am saying this. So I was like, Mama, stop trying to hide this thing. There is nothing to be ashamed about. I'm not ashamed of it. You know, I'm taking a divorce for the right reasons. I have not betrayed anybody. I have not defrauded. I'm doing this to protect myself and my family, and to stay away from an abusive marriage, a deceptive marriage. So, so when my mother told, she would keep asking. So my mother told her she is getting a divorce. So she said, "What? Had she been my daughter, I would have given her poison." So that is the level of judgment that people throw here. I mean, I have mentioned it in other videos also, that this kind of judgment you have to face. But my mother is, she was like, my mother replied appropriately. She was like, what do you think, we should have left our daughter to die there? Then she was quiet. So what happens in a lot of cases, because of people like this, and if you are somebody like this who gets into everybody's business, and when you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. Even our saints, they say, um, being quiet is better than speaking ill. you know rather you stay um, rather you say nothing at all than speaking evil things, because so many parents here are already so many girls are already so scared that they will be judged and their parents will be judged. They stay in abusive marriages, and they keep going through traumas and whatnot so much. It's not just my experience. I've seen, like I said, I observe very deeply. So a lot of women in India, and I guess in other countries too, but I know about India only though. So it's like uh, people, girls, they choose to stay in those marriages because they're so scared of judgment. This kind of useless, harmful judgment that is not required at all, where you require support, you know. So this kind of people, they even deter the parents from helping their daughters. Had my mother gotten affected by what she's saying, had my parents were more, you know, concerned about their status or how they are being perceived by this kind of people, I would not have. I mean, I don't know what I would have done, where I would be. So they were with me all along. They supported me when they saw they when they got to know actually what was happening, because I was also like the other women only. I didn't want to bother my parents. It was not that because I was scared of judgment for me. I was scared of judgment about like my parents would have to face judgment, and families can be like that, and and people in general. So for a long time I didn't tell anything to my father. So but there came a time that I had to, and then I came like I've shared in a video how I came back home. That was kind of a plot to get rid of me. So what I'm saying is, had my mother listened to that lady, and had she been more concerned about how she is being perceived, how this people who do not matter at all, I mean, I would say they would matter if they have a kind heart, if they are supportive people. But if you are people who are always staring other people down, then you don't matter. Your existence don't matter then, because you're just, I mean, the real character is in building somebody up, not in tearing somebody down. And when someone is going through a tough time, you can show up for them, you can help them. That's real character. Not going on advising parents and taunting women, or even kind of questioning the guys also who have gone through horrible things, or in this case, a divorce. So, had my mother been influenced by her, it would have been very difficult for me. But she was, sorry, my mother didn't get influenced by her. Like, it's not like my parents were, everybody was upset, like sad that divorce is happening. But then they all chose their daughter's safety over what society is going to say. And I'm not inciting you against society, because there are amazing people also, so many good people. And as much as there are good people, there are this kind of wicked people also, who go around just advising ill things to people without even thinking what it will do to them or their families. So, sorry, you can't do anything to, I guess, stop this kind of people. But you can be the kind of person who doesn't get affected by these things, or who would not give these people a footing or a place to talk into your uh, talk about your situation. You know, you need to be firm enough. If God forbids, God forbids, if your daughter or your son is going through this, something like this, because in my own neighborhood I have seen parents not being there for their daughters, and the outcome I don't want to tell you. You can imagine the outcome. The outcome is that the girls are not here. They are with God. So, and there are also parents who have been with their daughters throughout, and their daughters are thriving. But I think those girls, had it not been the societal pressure or this kind of people, they would be thriving too. You know, so it's so important. It becomes so important to look at our own behavior, um, what we are advising somebody, what we are telling someone. Sorry, and where we need to speak and where we have to stay quiet, where we have to support somebody. You think shaming somebody, telling somebody's parents that you should give your daughter parents, uh, give you, telling somebody's parent that you should give your daughter poison, you're doing such a great job, or you are kind of being very useful or philanthropic. I'm not venting out. It really, but it makes me very angry because I know about those girls who could not survive. So, and all because of this judgment. They were so scared of being judged. I was I was not scared in a way of being judged, though I faced such harsh judgment, and I still people talk behind my back, but not in. Nobody can say anything in front of my face now. On my face, nobody can. So, but for a time being, I was in a way somewhere I was a little kind of scared of the judgments. I never showed it. I always showed up strong because I knew if I became weak, then my parents were going to be like, uh, they wouldn't know how to handle it. So again, I'm not telling you about how great I am or what I can do. It's just in difficult times also. And I'll tell you what point I have here, what I want to say here. Um, I did not let my father look for a lawyer because he was already getting very stressed about this thing. I was already sick and depressed, everything. I looked for a lawyer, and not once did I take my parents to court because I saw what the condition in court is. Oh, how, and there I saw how women are suffering, like for years. And even there were few men also who were being tortured by women. So it's not just that it's only women get tortured, but mostly it happens that the women gets judged, or women get judged, or like that. But there I observed that I would talk to people while waiting. So I got to know so many that stories, and that not stories, life stories, and things that have been kind of that were being dragged on for like decades, and I didn't want that for me. So I was very clear, and I didn't want, because I didn't want my father to stress over all this. So I was like, I went for a clean cut divorce. I was like, I don't want anything from you. I just want a divorce. That's it. And again, I'm not encouraging anybody to get a divorce or something like that. You better judge your situation. You are a better judge of your situation. So my situations were such that I had to, and I don't regret it. I don't regret it. What happened after that here was a different thing. That I got a sister-in-law who was worse than the in-laws that I had left behind. But that's my story mostly. Yeah, yeah. But not just my story. This happens to a lot of girls. Once they get married, people start, even their parents start, uh, in a way, in a lot of households, not all the households, they start thinking like, okay, now she belongs to another family. She does not belong to us. And they, in a way, separate her. It was not the case with me. My parents never raised me with the kind of that kind of mentality. So, so I will I thought, yeah, I have a safe place. I can go to my parents. But when I came here, it was a completely different story. Things had changed drastically because there was someone, a bigger threat was waiting for me here. So that's a different thing. The main point was, I forgot. The point was like, I was not once I took my father to the courthouse, or my mother. I went with my lawyer, or that time my brother would take me, because I knew my father would be very stressed. So what I want to say is, despite everything that I was going through, I had to gather up the courage to do it alone again. Like I keep saying in all the videos, so many things, everything that I did, I had to do it alone. Like God had always been with me, but as a person, there was no one. So I had to do everything alone. And it was not easy. So if you're going through, excuse me, if you're going through something very difficult, you know, something like this, trust me, you have the courage inside of you to get through this. If you decide, you do. Because it was like I was dying. I was so sick. I kept, every day I kept feeling like I might not wake up the other day because I was so sick. And I could not afford a proper doctor also. And I didn't want to tell my parents because I did not want to bother them monetarily also. So, and I could not consult another psychiatrist. My doctor is, anyways, really nice. But my friends, my real friends, they were pressuring me to get a second opinion about my condition. So, but I had no resources to even consult anybody or to even look for a doctor. They were ready to help. My friends were ready to help, like, But like I said, I'm the kind of person who is very uncomfortable around taking help. Now I'm changing that. If I really need help, I can ask, um, if it is very urgent. I mean, but by God's grace, it doesn't happen like that. Or I don't let it go to that extent. I try to manage things on my own. So, um, so I was being, so it's not just that my friends were telling me only. They were ready to help also. They were like, you don't worry about anything, just go look for a good doctor. And I was so sick at that time that I would could not even search online. And this is a small city where I live, so you don't find a lot of good doctors here. And I didn't want my parents to, again, I didn't want my father to be like, uh, go on looking for doctors and therapists. We have very few therapists here, and in my state also. So I was like, it's like I had no resources other than the resources that I had inside me, like the resolve and courage. And I had my faith, of course, and the decision to get well, and all while going through so much torture. So I would like to add here that if if you think you can't get through the tough times, you can. Because if a daughter has to come back home after she got married, and God forbids if it breaks and she has to come back home, her parents may not treat her that badly, but mostly it happens that other members in the family start treating her like she's an outcast or a pariah, or I don't know, something like, something very, I don't even have words for that. That is something very beneath them in a way. So the same person that before marriage was you treated like a princess, when she got divorced and came back home, you would treat her like she's nobody, like her entire existence dependent depended on depend why am I stuttering, just a moment. Like, yeah, her entire existence, her entire identity was dependent. I had to take a sip of water, that's why I was stuttering. That was my body's way of telling me you have to take a sip of the water. So, like, her entire existence was dependent on being somebody's wife. And once she stops being one, she stopped mattering. How is that fair? And how it relates to mental health is what it does to that that woman's mental health. Just think about it. If you are a family, and your daughter, like I said, God forbids, or your sister or anybody in your family or in your neighborhood has gone through this kind of a thing, she's already traumatized. She or he, they're already traumatized. And rather than supporting them, you taunt them, you keep trying to, you go on asking them what happened, you must have done something wrong. Even don't feel bad about saying such things like you must have done something wrong. Like they know what happened. So I would say, protect your daughters, protect your family. Don't get give them a space to heal, regain their confidence. Don't treat them like they are nothing, that they are an outcast, that they don't mean anything now that they are divorced, that once they got married, They become somebody, they belong to somebody else. So, because it causes so much trauma to them, like I said, there are so many girls who don't survive this. And thankfully, I'm not crying now. Otherwise, I would have ended up crying right now. Wow, I'm not crying. It means I'm getting hold of my emotions better. Yeah, I guess I'm not crying because I'm angry. It really makes me angry because somebody's life, nobody gives you the right to push somebody to such an extent, to an edge from where they cannot come back. When you can be a helping hand, why do you choose to become a hand that pushes somebody over from over the mountain? You have hands, use it to raise somebody up, don't use it to push somebody down, you know. And again, I have not started this channel to scold somebody, but it's like to raise awareness, you know. And in the families also, only the daughters get so tortured, so tortured. Like I was being tortured, not by my parents, but by other members, where I was like the queen, or I don't believe in become being a princess anymore. I don't. I would rather be the queen. I would rather be my own sovereignty. I would rather be my own authority. Never a princess. Nobody's princess. My own queen. So, and I have my own sovereignty, my own authority now. God in me. And my parents have right over me, but I decide what to do in life. And God. So, um, you know, it's very cruel what we do to our daughters, mostly. And again, to men, I know you go through judgments too, but if you're if you if you're being honest, you would agree with me that it's that women suffer so much. Some woman must, if you're divorced, and some woman must have really put you through hell. You must have gone through hell by the hands of that woman. But the society doesn't judge you as such. It doesn't judge you or treat you like they judge a woman who is divorced. So please don't get offended. You know, uh, I'm talking about how daughters are being treated here, mostly. So in this video, it's not just that this video is about women, no, but you can agree with me. You know, if you're being honest, you know. So I would request you to, you know, if you can see someone is doing this, being nosy in a way in our neighborhoods, I would rather go and tell them very politely, Auntie, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to poke? I mean, I wouldn't say poke your nose. I'm like, why do you have to know everything about her or him? Why can't you just let her be? I would rather be, you know, I would rather be called names, or I would rather be called rude than see a girl suffer, girl or a guy, without reason, who is already traumatized. And I would try to intervene. I mean, it's not like I'll go poke my nose into somebody's business. No. But if it is happening in front of me and it's in my neighborhood only, I'm not talking about just go and do it. If you're saying if it's strangers, it would have been amazing if you could um, help strangers too, you know. could have been amazing, but then that puts you in danger. You have to think about your safety also. So, but where you can help, we can at least remind people not to be so cruel, you know, and not to put the, not to just without any reason, just because you want gossip, you're ruining somebody's life, you're ruining somebody's chances of survival. Don't do that. Be a helping hand. Be a helping hand, you know. That's what I wanted to say. And to the parents, I would make an appeal. Please don't listen to what your neighbors have to say, or other family members have to say, who mean nothing good. Your daughter's life is important. Her well being, her mental health is important. Give her a chance. Let her heal. Let her get back up on her feet. Rather than, you know, making her feel like something is wrong with her, or if she's divorced, she is nothing. So I was never, it was never like this with me, by my parents, but by other people, it was, I can't describe. I mean, I have in one of the videos I have shared it. I've shared the things that I went through. So that's my appeal, you know, be a little kind. You have no idea how much you can help somebody by being a little kind, and by controlling your impulse to go and ask all the time, what happened, what happened, what happened, how, why did you get a divorce, what happened, you know. Stop scratching their wounds all the time that they are trying to heal. Yeah, like I said, I was not venting, but it really makes me very angry when I see somebody who is innocent suffer, and especially when they they had a chance that they could have survived, but then it was not their fault. Just because of other people's interference, they could not make it. Nothing gives you this right, because you have not given them life. God has given them life, so you don't have the right to take it away from them. I'm getting very angry. So I guess, I don't know, being angry is better, or getting emotional and then I end up crying. But sometimes you have to be angry at the wrong things. I need to calm down. Yeah, okay, that's what I wanted to say. And to the women and girls and even guys, I would like to remind you that if your marriage broke, if you had to walk away from somebody, if it was not your fault, you know, I'm not judging here, you know, you know, right? So if it was not your fault and you had to do it for your well-being, your own sake, there's nothing wrong with you. You are wonderful, you're strong, you are capable, and the people who could not see your worth, it is their problem, you know, and who are still trying to make you feel worthless, it is their problem. Don't let them get to you, because when the whole world is hostile towards you, you have no other choice than to believe in yourself and defend yourself, or they will pull you under. You would rather end up being severely mentally and physically ill, or I don't want to name the other outcome, or you would have to pull into every ounce of the strength that you have and stand up for yourself, like I had to. My parents were with me against society, but when it came to the family, even they got very divided what to do between their son and the daughter. So I went through a lot then. That's why I but but I, you know, how to say that, I went through a lot, but I didn't let it broke me a lot of times, but I did not let it uh, snatch my dreams and my belief in myself. It rather kind of these cruelties, they rather showed me how strong I am. Like the saying goes, I don't remember the author. It's always anonymous is written below whenever I have read that quote. Like, you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only option you have. So hold on and fight for yourself. And I'm going to make another video about this familial pressure only after this. So I just want to remind you that nothing is wrong with you. You're wonderful people, and if the other people couldn't see your worth, then it's on them. It's their loss, you know. Do not keep blaming yourself, because when the whole world is judging us, we have to be our own savior, right? We can't go on judging ourselves. Yeah, we need to introspect also, where if we were wrong somewhere, and if you see that you were not wrong, then give yourself that grace and compassion. And even when you find that you were wrong somewhere, then forgive yourself, because that thing has already happened, and move on and forgive yourself. Yeah. And parents and family members, please treat your daughters with the same dignity like you treated them when they were not married, before they were married. Yeah. Okay. Good night, guys.